Yo, what is good, dev guys? Welcome back. In this video, I want to give you a brief overview of what this procedural IK system entails. I also want to get a setup for the system so that we can actually just start rolling right into everything that we need to do. I know it's been a minute since my last video, damn near a month. I've been battling COVID and I just recently moved into a new home in Killeen, Texas. So things have been a little shaky getting everything set up. You know, my body's been worn out from the move, but we back, baby, and we about to get back into this course. So let's just show you guys what the procedural system is. So basically you see that dot in the middle of my screen. No matter what weapon I'm using, no matter what sight is on this weapon, it will always aim towards the center of that dot. And to prove that, I am going to go ahead and cop me a weapon with a sight on it. And you will see I will also go to the center of that dot. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the sight is. As long as you set this up properly, you'll always aim to the center of that dot. So that is the system that we're going to set up inside of this, I don't want to say maybe 10 to 15 videos. There's a lot of things we got to get working. We got to get this first person weapon equipping properly. We got to get the information from the weapon, the information from the arms, the information from the sights, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna just close this down and we're gonna jump into the actual Lyra FPS project and get cracking, get things set up. So here's the Lyra FPS series. I'm gonna run this in debug. Ryder just did this update where I don't know if you guys ever used the source build of the engine, but this is a source build right here. And usually this wouldn't be this organized. It'll be like debug, editor, Android, and it'll have that listed for each one separately. But now you see they compiled everything. They compiled the type of configuration, the target, and the platform into different sections so you can just choose which one. So if I just wanted to debug my game real quick and see how it ran as a debug game, as a Win64, I can just change it like that. And it is a beautiful thing. I like the things that they're doing over there. Holy moly. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit debug and let's get cracking. Okay, so that compiled successfully. There's a few things we need to do in the editor before we get started with the programming side of this. So I just wanna handle all of that first. We need to actually create an animation blueprint for our first person arms because right now we're just using an animation asset. And the way we're going to do that is by actually cloning the existing animation blueprint from the Lyra third person character mesh and then using that with all of its information as our base for our first person mesh. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go to where that is located. So characters, so just the full folder structure is content, characters, heroes, go into mannequin, and then you want to go into animations. And here's this ABP mannequin base class here. As you can see, this holds all of the layer information for our full body aiming, full body additives. It goes into the root bone for the, I believe this is the turn in place. There it is. But yeah, we want to go ahead and take this puppy and retarget it and duplicate it. So I'm gonna right click on it, retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget animation blueprint. And remember back in the early days of this course, you know what I'm saying? You know, I know it's been a long time. We made this IKFP retarget asset here. This is so that we can do this step right here that we're doing. So what I wanna do is add the suffix here. So let's look for, actually, when we go here, we can add a suffix to the animations and the assets that will get retargeted. So I want to say I want to add underscore FP on the end of that so that I know that this is the first person version of this. You know what I mean? And then we want to change the folder where it will be saved at. I'm going to put it in that assets folder. And I'm going to actually create a new folder in here called retarget. And inside of retarget, I'm gonna just make one for the base anim BP like that. And then select that as the folder. And now everything will be pushed into that folder. So I'm gonna hit retarget. It's gonna do a little thinking and it's gonna make these assets for me. And I'm gonna go ahead and just save I will save all down here. And then we want to do one more. So I'm going to go back to content, characters, heroes, mannequin, animation. And inside of this linked layers folder, it actually has this ABP item anim layers base animation blueprint. This and this are like brother and sister, like twin brother and sister. You can't really have one without the other, because this controls what the layers are doing, or this is the base class that controls what the layers are doing for your different layers, for each weapon, for each stance. Like if you were making a fighting game, you would create a layer for each stance. Like I wish I could explain it a little bit better. I hope you guys get what I mean, but you need this right here. So I'm gonna right click on this, retarget, duplicate and retarget, and we're gonna use that same IK retargeter asset. And I also want to put that underscore FP suffix on the back of that and change the folder as well. We're going to the retarget folder, but this is going to be the base anim layer BP, and then hit OK and go ahead and retarget that puppy. And now we have this in here, and we can just Control Shift S and save all. So let's double click and open this. It's going to have a few errors when you open it. And right now this window just opened on another screen. You can change that by going to edit, editor preferences. And right here, this asset editor open location, I'm going to set this to the main window. That way everything opens here and not like some random screen. There's also probably something going on. Let me see. Do we got the tooltips turned off? This enable pin value inspection tooltips. I usually turn this off. I'll turn it on so you can see what it is, but it's really annoying. So yeah, let's go into this, the item layers, BP underscore first person. I'm going to close this base class. We actually don't need it. And you see here, we got a few warnings, but we also have some compile errors, and it's tripping about an aim offset animation that is using the incompatible skeleton. So I'm going to navigate to that. And basically this whole layer right here, this full body aiming layer, I'm not going to use it because in first person, we're not going to be doing aim offsets. Pretty much our aim is going to be our aim. So I'm going to just select all of this and delete it. We can actually take that input pose and delete it as well. Oh, no, we can't. Okay. So compile that, that'll get rid of that error. And now this sequence evaluator is tripping about another animation that is using a wrong skeleton. So, and this is where that pin thing comes in right here. This is very annoying. But when you're debugging, like say you were stepping through your code and blueprint, this is actually helpful. So I turned it on just to debug, but as a regular thing that's happening, like it's annoying. So I just go ahead and boop, pop that off and go back. You see it doesn't pop up now. So basically what we want to do is we want to clear out this. They have a reference to an animation by default. I'm going to clear this out and plug that back in, hit compile. It's going to get rid of that error. But we have a bunch of warnings about this orientation warping. And since we are in first person, we're not actually going to be warping any orientation because our arms are going to be connected to the camera. So I'm just going to delete this out of the line of code that it's included in. We want to keep the stride warping. This is what controls the speed of the animation depending on the speed of the character. So we want to keep that. But this orientation warping, that's pretty much for a third person. Like when you're strafing and running, the legs will turn, but the body will stay the same. Yeah, we just want to go through all of these and delete that, connect it up, compile, go on to the next one and just run through that like that. And transform modify bone. This puppy right here is tripping because we don't have a bone called weapon R inside of our skeleton. The bone in our skeleton is actually called VB weapon R. And I recorded these videos before, but I didn't have my mic turned on. So I actually have a bone in here that would usually give you an error. Like if you're doing this with me right now, you'll have an error about this bone right here. This node would have an error, this copy bone. It'll say that this bone doesn't exist basically. And since I've already recorded this, I forgot to reset myself and delete that bone. But what you want to do is basically come over to the skeleton, just hit this button right here. It'll take you to the skeleton. And you want to navigate to your hand R. And so where's my hand R? Right here. I'm actually going to delete this bone so we can do it together. I'll delete it. We'll right click on our hand R and we'll add a virtual bone. And then the target bone for this virtual bone is our left hand. So hand L. And then right here, this needs to be the same name that's being used here. And the way to get that, if you didn't have, like, if you weren't like me and you already had it, you need to go to the actual original skeleton. So characters, heroes, mannequin, let's go meshes, and let's pop open this SK mannequin skeleton. And the name of that bone is right here. So I just click it, hit F2, copy it. I'm gonna close this because I don't think I need it anymore. And then I'm gonna just come right here, hit F2 and paste it. And now when you save and you compile over here, that error should disappear. And now you should be error free in this puppy here. This right here, I'm telling you, if you don't have this set up, this is why a lot of people, like when you see a lot of people's Lyra projects, their left hand is like not lined up. It's because they didn't add this virtual bone to their custom character or their custom mesh. And hopefully they watch this video and they like fix their stuff so it doesn't look all janky. But this is what you need right here. What else? Let me see. What else do we need? Do we need anything in the base and BP? Let's see if there's any errors in here. So here it's talking about it's failing to find a property called aim yaw. Pretty much, we're not going to worry about. Yeah, we're not going to worry about this anim blueprint right now because we're going to be deleting a lot of the stuff in here. Like this full body aiming, this will get deleted. The control rig will get deleted. And yeah, pretty much we're going to change how this operates. So pay no attention to this. This is actually not a issue right now. The one that really matters is that the animation layers. What is that? That's an error. Hold on. Let me find this out. Oh, okay. So this right here, this property value thing that's saying that the property none for gameplay tag cannot be found. We need to go to the class defaults and come over here and type in gameplay. And here we have this property tag map. And there's these 5 tags that we need to give a property to edit. So for event movement melee, we need to give it gameplay tag is melee. For event movement dash, we need to give it gameplay tag is dashing. For reload, we got to give it reload. For weapon fire, we give it is firing. And then for ADS, we give it is ADS. And when you compile that, it should get rid of that error so that we can actually use this. The warnings aren't that important right now for this one. So I'm gonna close that. And right now for this video, I believe that's all I need to do to get you guys set up and ready to go for the next step. In the next step, we're not actually going to jump into the IK section of the code. We actually need to set up the weapon equipping properly to the first person mesh and third person mesh, which requires some coding of its own. So if you guys are ready for that, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.